Hi, welcome to my first edition of my video magazine. In this and upcoming episodes, I want to cover some details and information that I've learned over the years owning German Shepherds. The information should be helpful with German Shepherd owners as well as any large breed dog owner. In today's episode, I want to cover something called bloat. Bloat is a ailment that affects large breed dogs. It's very common among German Shepherds. It's also referred to as torsion. Because of a German Shepherd's anatomy, they have very large chest and abdominal muscles. They're able to expand their lungs for breathing and running. And because of that, a lot of times there's extra space in there, a lot of room for the organs to move around. Sometimes these organs can twist or torsion. What happens is the stomach twists inside the stomach abdominal wall, and it can cause bloat. It's a very serious emergency for German Shepherds. If not treated, the dog can die within hours. Plastic bag is kind of like a dog's stomach. This would be where the esophagus comes in, and this would be where it empties out into the small intestines, or actually the large intestines. When it's got a food load in it, it moves freely inside the abdominal cavity of the dog. If they're working aggressively or changing directions or running and jumping, sometimes that stomach, when it's full, can actually flip, causing the esophagus and the large intestine to pinch off. That prevents food from moving either way. While the food's in there, the digestive process continues and it builds up gases. That's why a lot of times it's called bloat, because the stomach of the dog will bloat up. Again, this is a true medical emergency for a German Shepherd or any large breed dog. If it's not treated immediately, it can result in their death. The consequence is it stops the blood flow to the lower organs, the small and large intestines, the kidneys, and the spleen can engorge. And basically they lose blood supply to those vital organs, and they'll die from complications as a result of it. Also, as the stomach starts to fill up and build pressure, it'll reach a certain point where it will rupture, and they can die from infection because of that. They can also bleed out internally. So again, it's a very, very severe medical emergency. Some of the signs and symptoms of bloat is immediately after the dog takes a drink of water, it'll vomit that water right back up. Oftentimes it'll whimper or cry. Basically what that is, the water's going down the esophagus, but it can't make it into the stomach. It'll build up and then come right back. It'll regurgitate it. The water will have a very frothy appearance to it. It'll kind of look bubbly. That's usually an indication that it's not getting down into the stomach. This is an early sign. If your dog does this, you need to get to the vet immediately. Hopefully in those circumstances you'll be able to cure the problem fairly quickly. It's probably going to need some kind of surgery. Late signs of bloat, their abdominal area, their stomach basically will be extended or distended. It'll be full of air and it'll be very rigid. And it may in most cases be very painful for the dog. The dog will be lethargic, probably want to go off and hide somewhere. That's usually a late sign. It's pretty severe. What essentially happens is the blood flow gets cut off to all of the organs below the small and large intestines, and that's what really causes the most damage to the animal. The longer this happens, the more damage that occurs. The dog needs immediate medical intervention. Now with bloat, you can have two conditions. You can have a total torsion, where the stomach is completely turned around, both ends are blocked off, or you can have a partial torsion, where the stomach only moves slightly, but pinches off. Sometimes enough blood can get through, it may not be as severe. Either way, these are true emergencies and the dog needs immediate medical attention. One of the things the vet can do immediately to relieve some of the pressure is needle decompression. If the stomach is bloated and there's air in it, the vet can apply a needle that will relieve some of that pressure, and that buys some more time to be able to do surgery or to kind of figure out what your options are. Like I said, what happens a lot of times is the gastric juices and the gastric process causes that air to build up in the stomach, and that's what causes the bloat. Some things you can do to prevent bloat. Diet's very important. You want to make sure that the food that you're feeding is low in soy, low in wheat products. Always make sure that you're feeding a food that's predominantly made of meat products. This will prevent the bloat from occurring. Soy and wheat products take longer to digest in their stomach, and it can sit in there for a long period of time. So what happens is when the dog's digesting that food, it doesn't move through quickly. They'll go out and do some activity, run, jump, whatever it is that they're doing, just aggressive play like they're doing right now, and the stomach can torque. Another important thing is after they eat, just like when you're told when you're a kid, you were told not to go in the water for 20 minutes after you eat. Same thing with the dog. They shouldn't play aggressively or be let out to engage in play, work with the other dogs until they've had a chance for their food to digest. This will prevent their stomachs from being full of food and possibly turning. Your dog needs to get to the vet immediately. What they're going to do is they're going to have to do some kind of surgical intervention. Again, you can have a partial or a complete torsion. If the dog is only partially torn, an x-ray will reveal that, and then oftentimes it can be relieved after time or it can be manipulated. But if it's a full torsion, surgical intervention is going to be necessary. You'll have to go in and basically relocate the stomach. And in most cases, your vet can add a stitch to the stomach to keep it from moving around again in the abdominal cavity so that it doesn't happen in the future. Oftentimes, the dog is prone to bloat. It can happen multiple times throughout the dog's life, so you have to be careful from that point forward. To recap, bloat is a very serious medical emergency, so you need to get your dog to the vet immediately. I think I've said it several times throughout this video, but I can't stress it enough. Time is of essence. I want you to understand that the video segments that we're showing are no way meant to replace the advice or information that you get from a qualified veterinarian. You should have a good relationship with a veterinarian when you own a German Shepherd dog. They're prone to a lot of medical problems, and oftentimes a veterinarian can tell you if your dog may be prone to bloat. But oftentimes also, bloat occurs without any warning. So it's very important that you have annual checkups, you stay up on your shots, and you have a good relationship with a vet, because they can answer a lot of these questions. Also, next time you go for your checkup, ask your vet what information he can provide to you about bloat so that you can be prepared should it happen. Prevent bloat by feeding a high quality food that's mainly meat products. Make sure that your dog doesn't have aggressive play after they eat. Give them a chance to digest their food. If it does occur, get to the vet immediately. The signs and symptoms, again, are if the dog starts to regurgitate water, has painful vomitus, you'll see froth in the water, or if the dog's abdomen is very distended, they're lethargic, that could be an indication of bloat. Get your dog immediately to a vet. Always keep an eye on your animals. Know what's going on with their lives, know how they're feeling and how they're acting. If they're acting strange, that might be an indication that they're ill. One thing about animals is they can't tell you what hurts. You have to look at their body language. You have to look at how they communicate. And they communicate with you through nonverbals. Knowing your animal, you can know if there's something wrong and you can take care of it in advance. Come here, guys. Come on. That's all for today. Hope you watch the next video segment. Should be coming out very shortly. Thank you. Yes. Yes. What do you want? You're jealous. You're jealous. Yes, you are. You're jealous. Don't you jump on me. Don't you jump on me. Yes. Sit. 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 Good girl. Sit. Max. Sit. Good boy. That's a good boy. Yes, you are. Good boy. Good boy. Gotcha. Get him. Ben. Ben now. Come. Ben now. Ben now. Come. Hey, leave her alone. Come here. Leave her alone. Back.